your neighbor by the hand and join the dance parade before the clock strikes and it's all too late.
Hey everybody, Brandi here doing a live, and let me see here. I am not sure because I thought we would see somebody else here. I'm only seeing one comment in the chat, so I want to make sure. Looks like Debbie and Catherine are on. Awesome. If you guys can hear me, just let me know. I know that today has been really stressful for Elena, and I just want to say shout out to her. This is her first summit, so hopefully you guys realize how much work it is to put on these summits. I mean, we've been doing it since 2021, and every single summit we have some sort of technical snafu. So hats off to Elena for getting us all together and learning everything we can about our Cricut Joy. Now, it looks like some folks can hear me. I honestly do not know how long I have, so if Elaine, if you can send me a private chat in StreamYard and let me know. And I don't know why it's asking me to connect. So weird. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what we're going to be talking about today, since you guys probably haven't seen my presentation. I can show you the card, though. I just happen to have it on my desk. So this card right here actually fits a 5x7 envelope. So, and this is, you know, a bigger size media format that you can actually make on the Cricut. However, I have kind of deconstructed it into pieces where you actually glue things together. So I don't know if you can see it. And so then the individual pieces are small enough to fit on a Cricut. And so the idea that I had for this, let me see if I've got my inspiration here. Well, maybe I don't, but I had gotten a card that basically was a flat version of this, and it was really vibrant and had some, you know, foiled elements and stuff, but they were flowers. And so that's kind of where I got the idea, but I wanted it to be more of a fun fold card so that you could actually open it up and then you could write something. Of course, you could, you know, you could make this into any kind of holiday theme, whether it's birthday or Valentine's or whatever. And I just used some pattern paper on the front here to kind of give it that wrapped look to it. And then I actually designed all of these floral elements, but they're kind of snowflakey. So, and yeah, so I designed all those actually in Silhouette Studio because I'm not a big user of Illustrator or Inkspace, and my first cutting machine was the Silhouette. So that's the software that I used to create that. All right, so let's see. Do you have an SVG cut file for the regular Cricut? I mean, you can use the same file. I don't have one where it's got one big cutout for this. So you can use the same SVG file for your regular Cricut. You just have to assemble it just like you did in the Joy. And I guess if you wanted to, you could probably merge those shapes together and have it all cut out at once. But it didn't take me a lot to create it. So it took me forever to design it, though. And then I have some ribbon here that I just kind of tied it up. So anyway, that was my card. All right, who else has any questions? And if you don't have any questions about the presentation because you haven't seen it, if you've got any other questions that I might be able to answer, I'd be happy to take this opportunity to do that as well. And I know that I share in the video, perhaps you haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't signed up for the Card Makers Success Summit, you might want to go over there today because I'm going to be sending out an email, hopefully today, to open the doors for our next summit, which will take place in August. There isn't per se a wait list on that page, but if you sign up for the freebie on there, then you'll definitely get notification when the doors open. All right, let's see. On the presentation, why are you recutting the paper pieces? So I can't remember exactly, but I think what happened was I had not mirrored them, and the way they came out, they were opposite of this piece right here. So I had to recut the papered pattern and then actually mirror it in the design, so that when I cut it out, it would actually fit perfectly on the cardstock. So, yay, Laura! Awesome. Yes, I'm excited too. We're doing testing right now, so I'm trying to figure out all the bugs before you guys find them. It's a lot. It sure is a lot to do. Well, let's see, what else can I talk about? I do have something exciting that's coming up. Let's see. Elena did. Oh, goodness. I've got 30 minutes. I don't know if I've got enough to talk about for 30 minutes, but we'll do our best. I guess what I could do is talk about our new membership that we are going to be announcing at the summit, so you guys can get kind of a sneak peek. And there's actually going to be a special offer given to anyone that purchases the VIP All Access Pass for the Card Maker Success Summit. So if you're interested in going to that summit and you do purchase the VIP All Access Pass, you're going to get a very special price for our card making membership. And it is called the Card Maker Success membership. And it's going to be a monthly thing where we are going to be providing monthly content. It's going to come in the form of a, I've lost my train of thought. Pre-recorded content. So either like a card project that we're going to make together, or it's going to be live. And then we also have co-working sessions each month where we kind of get together and on Zoom for about an hour twice a month, where we just sort of focus and work on our cards. We are also going to have a technique library where I'm going to be uploading short 15-minute type videos to kind of help you learn some of those techniques that you want to learn. Then we also have what we're going to call success squads, and this is going to be like accountability partners, accountability crafters, where you can connect with crafters in your own local area to do in person, or just anywhere in the world to do virtual crafting outside of the group. Then we're also looking into partnering with a nonprofit so we can do some good with our crafts and share our crafts with nonprofits. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, if you purchase the VIP All Access Pass, you will get a very, very special price. So be on the look for that. Care to share on who will be included in the next? Goodness. Well, I will tell you that we've got about 36 speakers this time around, and you'll see a lot of returning folks that you are familiar with. And then, of course, we've always got some new folks that we're introducing. So we're super excited about that. I don't have my hands on the speaker list at the moment, but definitely go and check that out. All right, well, Elena has just given me a message saying she's going to be there. So there you go. All right, what do you use for an envelope? And I think you're referring to the envelope for this. I just used a regular 5x7 envelope. All right, do you have a favorite cardstock for Cricut cards? Well, actually I do. So my store, which is at shop.stampmesomelove.com, we sell the My Colors cardstock. It's a heavyweight cardstock, and that is what I used for this. And it's a really nice cardstock that doesn't have a lot of you know, when you cut cardstock and it kind of frays a little bit, it's really clean. Cuts as long, of course, as your blade is nice and sharp. All right, it looks like Debbie. Yes, Debbie's going to be one of our speakers as well. Thanks for reminding me, Debbie. All right, let's see here. What's your favorite technique to use when making cards? Well, I would probably say my go-to is using watercolor. But I really like, I have been getting into mixed media, so I have some stencil butter, and that's been a lot of fun with stenciling, giving 3D dimension and stuff. Let me see if I can grab some of my cards I can show you. Just to make it a little bit more lively instead of you guys just looking at my face. All right, so this is one of the stenciling paste cards that I made, and we actually have a class on this. It's used with what's it called? The Crafter's Workshop stencil butter. Absolutely love that butter. Here's another card that I created with that. You can see it's kind of shimmery, and it kind of gives, you can have it with texture, or you can have it really nice and flat. This was just me sort of messing around with a stencil. This stencil actually is an Ulta New stencil, and I kind of mixed some of the colors in there. Let's see, I've got some more here. This is actually, I think this is a retired stencil, but this came from the Crafter's Workshop, and I kind of loved those flowers. And I just kind of experimented with doing different, using the different colors together. Try not to mix them, but sort of keep them separate, because if I started mixing all these colors, it would turn out brown. And then I liked this one. I may use for some sort of like water or ocean theme. I can't remember. I think that might be a Stampin' Up! Stencil, but used a couple of different colors there. And then, of course, you guys probably know I'm big into pride, big into rainbows. I think that stencil is a pink and mane. Let's see, got another one here from, I believe this is Ulta New, and some more of those violet and pink and gold colors. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. What do you think of that? Yeah, I like that one. So I made all these backgrounds. I haven't made cards for them. I think this one is a pretty pink, pretty posh. I forget the name. Anyway, I liked that little butterfly one. All right, what's the question? You said you started with a silhouette. What make you change to a Cricut? I have a silhouette and a Joy, as well as Asian and cut. I'm not familiar with Asian and cut, but okay. So I've had a love-hate relationship with silhouette, and you know, I've only been able to be kind of successful with silhouette with cutting vinyl. And I also get frustrated with when the mat goes through. Sometimes it doesn't line up correctly, and then my designs are messed up and stuff like that. So when I saw a close-up video of the Cricut and how the Cricut has those like guides at the end, you know, for your material to go through, I thought, okay, well, maybe, you know, that will help me. When I got the Cricut, I realized that the construction of the machine is a lot more sturdy than what the silhouette is. I find that the silhouette's plastic can be, I don't know, I just think the Cricut's better made. That being said, I was confused when I first got it and realized I couldn't design per se. When I mean design, I mean point editing design in Design Space. So I still had to use a software in order to create new designs, you know, where I could actually edit the points and make shapes and stuff myself. So that's why I still use the Silhouette Studio. I had to upgrade to, I think, the business or the designer or business in order to export SVGs, but I make it work. All right, what type of paper I'm thinking you're making cardstock. do 2K do you use to make your own envelopes? I actually don't make my own envelopes, but if I were to, I would use probably a 65-pound paper. I would not use cardstock, not heavy cardstock. All right. All right. Let's see. Going back to some cards that I've made. So this one right here is more a little bit cleaner to use. I just love that stencil butter. So that's kind of the new thing that I'm into. The other thing that I've really been loving with the Cricut and stuff is using heat transfer vinyl. So I created this card for a summit a couple months ago, and I don't know if you can see, but all of these little tiny cutouts, that's with HTV, heat transfer vinyl. And I got some of the smaller elements from Creative Fabrica, and then just created this cutout. And so I'm kind of really big into heat transfer vinyl when it comes to making intricate cuts for cards, because I find that trying to cut this out with 100-pound paper is probably not the easiest thing to do. And then of course I have the lettering. The backing is cardstock, but the inside lettering, the shiny part, that is heat transfer vinyl. So there we go. All right, what is my favorite type of card to make? Probably thank you cards. I usually make a ton of those. And then of course, when Christmas comes around, we've got to make a lot of those. But I think my thank you cards and just regular note cards are the most versatile, so I probably use a lot of those. Any tips or tricks you know about this card that you might not have mentioned in your presentation? Well, I did mention it, but it is worth mentioning again. As the design is right now, when you go to cut out the pattern paper, you have to mirror it. And when I created the design, I probably should have mirrored it first, so then you guys wouldn't have to worry about that. But when you're cutting out the pattern paper, you need to mirror it so that it lines up nicely with the cardstock. Here's another version of that Easter egg card, just different colors, different color schemes, and then the little shaker bits. This one I actually made for the Cricut Craft Adventure. You guys remember that summit earlier this year? And it was my little RV. I love RVs. And this guy right there, this little curtain, is actually tissue paper. I thought it came out really cool. All right, let's see. How did you get started making cards and crafts? All right. Oh, goodness. Well, when my nephew was born, back in the, gosh, this was in late 90s, I started getting into scrapbooking. And it wasn't until like until he was like 4 or 5, maybe older than that, digital cameras came out. And so then it was like so hard to keep up because the photos were, you know, they were just flowing and I couldn't keep up. And so I kind of put down the scrapbooking gig for a while. However, I carried all of my paper and supplies through several moves for probably 20 years. And it wasn't until about 2018 I had seen something on Pinterest, and it was a card that was embossed and with like an embossing folder. And I still remember the folder. It was a Cuttlebug. You probably have guys seen it, the one that has happy birthday, like in all kinds of different fonts. And I was on a mission to figure out how to make that card. So I discovered that you had to have a big shot to make it, and then you had to have the embossing folder. And so I saw the Big Shot. They were expensive. There was like over $100 to buy. And I then also discovered Stampin' Up. And so I found a local Stampin' Up demonstrator in my town, and I went to one of her classes solely with the purpose of testing out the die cutting machine. And so I took that class and then kind of got hooked on card making after that. I mean, like, went to the first class, signed up as a demonstrator, the very same class, and pretty much I bought the die cut machine. I bought some other stuff or whatever, and the rest is history. Now, I discovered after that that particular embossing folder was retired, and you couldn't buy it unless you got it off of Etsy or whatever. A good friend of mine, probably less than 6 months ago, gave me her stash of crafts, and guess what? I found that embossing folder in that stash. So I was super excited to get it. I haven't actually made anything with it, namely because most of the content that I create now is for brands who have the, using their current products. So, but I still have the embossing folder, and I probably won't ever get rid of it because it kind of started me on this journey. What is my least favorite card making supply or technique? I would probably say my least favorite supply is glitter. Glitter on its own. It's messy, and I like glitter cardstock that's already created, like when I buy it, but I don't really like making my own with glitter, although I have. And I have a good amount of glitter stash, but I don't really use it as much. All right, so what we got? What we got? Elena says, bring on the questions, cards, crafts, my life in general. I'm an open book. Yes, amen on the glitter. It's the bad gift that keeps on giving, for sure. And I am hoping to actually take my carpet out sometime this year. I really want to redo my whole craft room with some new cabinets and stuff. And so I'm hoping to get the carpet out away, because if you've seen this carpet, you would know it's a mess, because there's places where glue has dropped. And then, of course, all the dirt and glitter and embellishments or whatever, it all migrates to that area where the glue has stuck to the carpet. I've also accidentally sprayed pixie spray on it, so that's a hot mess. Oh, okay. Cricut Card Summit. So we had our first Cricut Card Summit back in May. Well, let me back up. So the Card Maker Success Summit is geared towards all card makers. Some of our speakers use traditional methods of stamping, heat embossing, die cutting, that sort of thing. And then some of the other speakers focus on using their Cricut or their Silhouette machine to create cards. And then what I found was that we had a lot of people that were just interested in one or the other. And so I decided to create a summit solely on Cricut card making. And so that's what it is. And we had our first one in May, went really well. And our next one for that, which does have a wait list on up right now that you can sign up for, is CricutCardSummit.com, and that is going to take place in December. So if you're interested in that, go to that website and sign up for the wait list there. You're hoping May Make It will be in a summit. That would be great. I would love for her to be in one of my summits. If anybody has a connection with her, let me know. Sometimes it's really hard to approach these bigger names because you're kind of afraid they're going to turn you down or think that your little project's not worth it. So I don't think I have May's contact information. So if anybody does, that'd be great. Favorite card I ever made. Goodness. I don't know about that, but I can show you the very first card I ever made because I've got it right here. This is the card that I made in that Stampin' Up! That Stampin' Up! Class. This was a 2-step stamp. And I didn't realize at the time that I was making it, I was actually stamping it on the actual card itself and not on a card panel because I didn't know any different. And the ladies next to me were like, "Oh my God, can't believe you're doing that." And so, so the card's kind of unique in that respect. But I love how you see in the stamp right there, it didn't get a full stamp, but I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's the very first card I ever made, and I have it right here to kind of remind me of my card making journey. Where do you find inspiration? Most of my inspiration comes from Instagram. Occasionally, I will look at Pinterest, but I find I see the same things over and over again on Pinterest. So I have a saved folder on Instagram that I like. And then of course I go to my my friends' YouTube channels and kind of look to see what they're working on. All right. Are there any other questions? I think we're getting close to the 30-minute mark. What's the biggest difference between Cricut cards and traditional cards, do you think? Well, I think the biggest difference is that you can create a design and it will cut out perfectly. What I do see most Cricut card makers who don't have traditional card making techniques, their cards tend to be a little bit flat in terms of dimension. And I'm not talking about, dimension with pop-up dots. I'm talking about like even this right here. Other than the pattern paper, there's no shading or anything on the cutouts. And sometimes I guess it can make it look a little dull. Whereas this to me is very bright, vibrant, and it shimmers and it's got texture to it. Let me see if I can find something else. Hold on. These are some cards that I made at a retreat recently. And so like there's just something different about the shading and the colors that are used with traditional card making. This one is a watercolored one. So, I mean, there's pluses and minuses, but I think that if Cricut card makers can embrace some of the traditional card making techniques with coloring and shading and ink blending and stuff, I think it elevates your card to a higher level. Like this guy right here. So this is made from a die cut, but I could certainly create something like this in a Cricut design and have all of that die cutted, Cricut cutted, and still do the same thing with heat embossing. And I think this this pail is done. We made the background first, and that was with I think some Catherine Pooler ink, and then we kind of distressed it with water and stuff, and then we ran it through the die cut machine. But then after that, we did some distressing on the heat embossing. And these panels right here, or not the panels, but the flowers, those were all, again, using Catherine Pooler inks and smudging. And I think we used this, the technique where you put the ink down on like a rubber mat or a glass mat, you put water on it, and then you put your cardstock and you kind of, make this colored pattern on your paper. And then after it dried, we die cutted it. So that kind of gives you that variation. Again, I could design something in Cricut Design Space for these flowers and then make the background paper, let it dry, run it through the Cricut machine, and then I'd get it. You know, it'd be essentially the same card. Hope that answers the questions. Oh, cool. I'm glad that you're watching Craft Roulette. I sucked at that episode. My card looks so bad. I don't craft well on pressure. So I usually have to have lots of time to kind of figure out a card. And once I get it figured out, I can crank them out, you know, if I do duplicates and stuff of it. But yeah, that card that I made in that episode was bad. I love to see some of my other friends on there that do such beautiful cards just like that. It takes me a while. All right. Elena says that's a wrap. Can't believe I lasted 30 minutes, you guys. All right. So do me a favor and give Elena all the grace that she deserves with this being her first summit, and making sure that she's got some space to kind of decompress and figure out the website stuff. It is so nerve-wracking to be in this position. And I know that she's working really, really hard to make sure you guys are having the best experience here at the Create with Cricut Joy Summit. So, all right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.